Money has always been part of human civilization, but somewhere along the way, it stopped being a tool and became the master. Today, almost everything we experience, our decisions, our morality, our dreams, our identities, has been reshaped by the relentless pursuit of wealth. And the strangest part? Most of us didn't even notice it happening. Because while we were busy trying to survive, a new kind of world was quietly being built around us, one where success isn't measured by character or community or contribution, but by how many dollars you can stack in a bank account you may never even touch. People keep saying the world is progressing, but what they call progress feels more like an illusion, a carefully crafted story meant to convince us that the system is working even though our lived experience proves the opposite. We're told the economy is strong while millions feel weaker every year. We're told inflation is normal while groceries quietly steal bigger chunks of our paycheck every month. We're told to work hard, hustle harder, and then hustle even more, only to realize the goalpost keeps getting pushed farther away each time we get close. And if you dare question any of this, you're met with condescending lectures about personal responsibility from people who inherited everything they have. Humanity wasn't built to function like this. We weren't meant to live every day drowning in financial anxiety, wondering if we'll still have a roof next year or if one emergency will destroy everything we've worked for. But that's the reality now, isn't it? We exist in a world where the cost of simply being alive keeps rising while our wages stay frozen. A world where having money means freedom and not having money means punishment. Where companies brag about record-breaking profits while employees silently ration their meals at home. Where billionaires get tax write-offs for flying private jets while the average person gets buried under late fees for missing a $40 bill. Somewhere along the line, money stopped representing value and started representing dominance. And the worst part is how normalized this has all become. You're expected to just accept it. You're expected to stay positive. You're expected to keep grinding, because apparently that's life. Except it wasn't always like this. We weren't always this disconnected, this divided, this exhausted. There was a time when work meant stability, not survival. When education meant opportunity, not lifelong debt. When owning a home was a milestone, not a miracle. What changed wasn't human ambition or human capability. What changed was the system surrounding us, a system engineered to reward the few at the top while draining everyone below. And instead of fixing it, society gaslights us into believing the system is fair. You're told that if you're poor, it's your fault. If you're struggling, it's your fault. If you can't keep up, guess what? Still your fault. But nothing about the modern economy is designed to help ordinary people. It's built to extract from them. Every year, the cost of living climbs, but quality of living doesn't. Every year, corporations earn historic profits, but workers don't. Every year, the rich get richer without lifting a single finger, while the rest of us are told to work harder than ever before just to stay in the same place. And that is where humanity begins to break. Not because poverty exists, but because exploitation has been disguised as normal life. The truth is simple. We don't live in a society anymore. We live inside an economy, and money, instead of serving people, is now the thing people serve. We obey it, fear it, sacrifice for it, chase it until we're exhausted, and judge others based on how much of it they have. That isn't progress. That's captivity. Humanity didn't break in one day. It broke slowly through small compromises, corporate greed, political corruption, and decades of prioritizing profit over people. And now here we are, standing at the edge of a world where everything costs something and nothing feels like it has meaning anymore. If money is the measure of life, then what happens to people who don't have enough? Are they worth less? Do their dreams matter less? Does their future matter less? This is the illusion we've been trapped inside, the belief that economic success equals human success. But the truth is far more uncomfortable. Money hasn't improved humanity, it has hollowed it out. And unless we confront this reality, we're only going to sink deeper into a world where value is measured in dollars instead of humanity.
If you've ever wondered why the economy feels amazing on the news but terrible in real life, it's because we're not living under one economy anymore. We're living under two. There's the economy that economists, politicians, and wealthy investors talk about, the one filled with rising stock markets, booming profits, and record-breaking growth. That's the economy they celebrate on TV. And then there's the economy you actually live in, where rent eats half your income, groceries cost more than ever, salaries stay frozen, and one medical bill can financially assassinate you overnight. These two realities exist simultaneously, and the people in the first one genuinely don't understand why everyone else is complaining. They look at the green numbers on their investments and assume the world is thriving. Meanwhile, millions of ordinary people look at their bank account and see a number so small it could give them a panic attack. And this division isn't accidental, it's engineered. Because the modern system doesn't reward labor, it rewards ownership. If you already have wealth, the economy is a magical machine that multiplies your money while you sleep. If you don't have wealth, the economy is a treadmill that speeds up every year until you collapse. This is why home ownership has become nearly impossible for younger generations. It's why the average age of first-time home buyers keeps rising. It's why people spend their 20s drowning in debt instead of building a future. It's why wages haven't kept up with inflation in almost 40 years. We are living through the biggest wealth transfer in human history, with trillions of dollars being sucked upward into the hands of a tiny elite, while the rest of society fights for the scraps falling from their table. And yet, we're told to simply work harder, as if effort is the problem, as if people aren't already working 2 or 3 jobs, as if 60-hour weeks have become a flex instead of a red flag, as if burnout is just a lifestyle. The truth is, most of the world's wealth is generated by people who will never get to touch it. The profits created by millions of workers don't go to the workers. They go to shareholders, CEOs, and investment funds. The people creating value don't receive value. And this isn't a glitch. This is the design. Money flows to money. That's the rule. And because of that rule, the people who already have wealth live in an entirely different reality. They buy homes not with loans, but with cash. They treat the stock market like a casino where the house always wins for them. They earn more in passive interest in a week than many people do in a month of labor. Money gives them safety, power, and opportunities that ordinary people will never see. And yet these same people have the audacity to lecture everyone else about financial discipline, as if the real problem is that you buy coffee instead of assets, as if skipping avocado toast will magically overcome decades of wealth inequality, as if budgeting harder will fix a system designed to drain you. No amount of personal responsibility can compete with structural inequality. And no amount of motivational quotes can hide the fact that a society built on economic imbalance cannot sustain itself forever. Because the longer this gap grows, the more society fractures. People lose trust. People lose hope. And when hope dies, humanity follows. That is the damage money has caused. Not because having money is evil, but because we have allowed it to define who deserves comfort and who deserves suffering. Two economies. Two realities.
Greed didn't suddenly appear in the modern world. Humans have always been capable of selfishness. But what changed is that greed stopped being a flaw and started being a strategy. Today, greed isn't just tolerated, it's glorified, celebrated, even marketed as ambition. We live in a culture where billionaires are treated like superheroes, where hoarding wealth is seen as genius, and where exploitation is considered smart business. Corporations slash wages, cut benefits, lay off workers, and then proudly announce record profits, as if that's something to brag about. CEOs call it efficiency, shareholders call it growth, politicians call it progress. But the workers who built those profits call it survival. And survival is not what a healthy society looks like. The normalization of greed has been so slow and subtle that we barely noticed it happening. It began when companies realized they could legally exploit people without consequence. It grew when governments decided wealthy donors were more important than ordinary citizens. It accelerated when the media started treating billionaires like prophets instead of warning signs. And now, here we are, living in a world where the richest individuals can buy entire cities, influence elections, manipulate markets, and still avoid paying taxes through loopholes so absurd that you'd think they were written as a joke. But it's not just the wealthy that have been corrupted by this mindset. Society itself has absorbed it. We're taught from childhood to chase money above everything else, not happiness, not community, not purpose, money. The only metric that matters. Kids grow up believing their self-worth is tied to their salary. Adults sacrifice their mental health, relationships, and physical well-being just to earn enough to not fall behind. And people judge each other based on possessions instead of character. Greed has become so deeply woven into the fabric of society that it feels invisible. But the consequences are everywhere. Look at housing. Once a human necessity, now an investment product. Look at education. Once a path to opportunity, now a financial trap. Look at healthcare. Once a public good, now a luxury item. Look at the environment. Forests burned, oceans polluted, species wiped out, all for profit. We are literally destroying the planet to feed an economic system that will eventually collapse anyway. And the people doing the most harm are the ones least affected by it. The wealthy can escape climate disasters. They can escape failing healthcare systems. They can escape crime, poverty, overcrowding, and instability. They live above the consequences of their own decisions, protected by money. And because they never feel the results of their actions, they continue to make decisions that harm everyone else. That is how greed became normal. Not because people changed, but because the system rewards harmful behavior and punishes humane behavior. Compassion doesn't generate profit. Empathy doesn't increase stock prices. Community doesn't boost quarterly earnings. And so one by one, those values were replaced by metrics, KPIs, shareholder returns, and bottom lines. Humanity was replaced by numbers. And when a society chooses numbers over humans, humanity breaks. Not all at once, but piece by piece, quietly, invisibly, until one day you wake up and realize people are more stressed, more divided, more hopeless, more trapped, and more disconnected than ever before. And everyone tells you that's just the way things are. But they're wrong. It's simply the way greed wants things to be.
The true cost of our economic system isn't measured in dollars, it's measured in human lives. It's measured in the single mother working 3 jobs who still can't afford childcare. It's measured in the young adult crushed under student debt before they even start their life. It's measured in the families choosing between rent and food. It's measured in the elderly who spent their entire lives working but still can't retire with dignity. It's measured in the people who feel trapped, hopeless, and punished for simply existing in the wrong generation. Money has broken humanity not because money itself is evil, but because we built a world where money determines everything. Your future, your opportunities, your safety, your time, your dignity, your dreams. And the cruel irony is that the people suffering most are the ones keeping society functioning. The workers, the teachers, the nurses, the drivers, the builders, the creators. The backbone of the world is overworked, underpaid, and undervalued. Meanwhile, the people benefiting most, billionaires, corporations, investment giants, contribute the least, yet take the most. They control the resources, the policy, the media narratives, and the public perception, shaping society to protect their wealth at any cost. And when people finally speak up, they're told they're ungrateful, lazy, or entitled. When workers strike, companies call them unreasonable. When young people complain about housing, older generations tell them to stop whining. When people point out inequality, they're called radicals.
But the truth is simple. Asking for fairness is not radical. Wanting stability is not entitlement. Wanting to live a life that isn't defined by financial fear is not unreasonable. Money has broken humanity because it has broken our sense of unity. It has turned neighbors into competitors. It has turned workers against each other. It has turned nations into battlegrounds for resources. It has turned empathy into a luxury. When a society forces everyone to fight for basic survival, people don't have the emotional capacity to care for each other. They don't have the time to build community. They don't have the stability to be compassionate. They're too tired, too stressed, too overwhelmed. And that is the most dangerous part of all, because when humanity loses its humanity, everything else collapses. But here's the truth. The system doesn't want you to realize. None of this is natural. None of this is inevitable. The world didn't just end up this way, it was designed this way. And anything designed can be redesigned. We don't have to accept a world where money dictates morality. We don't have to accept a future where people are valued only by their productivity. We don't have to accept an economy that rewards destruction more than creation. Humanity can be repaired, but only if we recognize that the system is broken, not us. Only if we decide that people matter more than profit. Only if we understand that dignity is not something you earn, it's something everyone deserves. And only if we finally admit the truth, money has broken humanity, but humanity still has the power to fix what money destroyed.